Hello, this is Compound Interest Stock Guide, and today in this video I'm just going to be talking about kind of the sentiment going into next week. I may touch on, I'm going to touch on basically how there's a lot of misinformation out there, and things to kind of like look into when you're looking into a company, and all that good stuff. Anyways, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Hit the bell down below. I talk about cannabis stocks lately. I may start talking about silver and gold when it starts going back up. Fortuna Silver didn't do very good, so I'm not really fond of them right now. But for silver play like Wheaton Precious Metal, they do palladium and gold, so that's kind of a company that I will be looking forward to when I start to see the precious metal space kind of heat up. And I talk a lot about cannabis sector because it's very on the radar, with all USA companies, they're getting closer to legalization. And then with, the legalization 2.0 and more stores in Ontario. So it's just been a big focus on mine right now. I'm hoping there's going to be a big Christmas rally come December. I mean, it's probably going to come back down. But, yeah. I also want to disclose I'm not a financial advisor. This is just for entertainment information purposes. Do not buy or sell based on anything I talk about. Buy or sell after you do your own research, due diligence, and you like the investments you're pursuing. So yeah, basically I'm thinking that the market kind of wants to come back. I mean, it has to do with kind of the S&P 500, as well as just some remarks saying there's no sector, it's not a good sector and all that bullshit. But that's it. As long as it's creating a higher low, I think that's good. As long as it doesn't break down below what it had before, then that would be really bearish. But eventually the sector is going to heat up. These companies are going to start to get to do very well. They're talking in Ontario basically that an LP can have a dispensary on site where people can get cannabis from there. So I think that's going to be good for the rec market, absolutely. So because the time it takes to like distribute and all that crap and all that bottleneck is just bullshit. Like basically the way the government's doing it isn't very effective, so it's costing the companies a lot of money that they're losing, so they could really get a lot of money back. So I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, basically there's just so much misinformation out there. It's just like people saying, it's like that's too expensive of a price. It's like it's too high. It's $9. This company's it's 50 cents. It's a better company, right? We as investors, like people that watch my channel and or subscribers and view my channel, I just want to let you guys down on a deep secret. Is basically it really doesn't matter what the share price is, whether the price is most likely going to go up or not, right? It matters about their financials now. So when you look at a company's financials and they're doing like positive EBITDA and they're doing net income, and then you gotta look at their market cap, right? How many shares out and all that stuff. So it doesn't really matter. Like IPR doesn't have that many shares out, so it has no relevance that IPR is an $85 stock, and then say like Agroflora is like a 16-cent stock, because Agroflora's got like 800 million shares out, right? And they're not making any revenue, so that's the total justification. So same thing, like people get all hot wired about like Heritage Cannabis, but I haven't seen any revenues from that company. So, I mean, they have like 400 million shares out. So, I mean, there's a lot of people that are getting lost in the space, and you just got to get back down to basics and look at like market cap. And we as individuals and the community have to read the financials and understand what we're getting into, because like when the company's got debt, or when the company has a low cash account, that can really affect them to go down, as well as if they're losing a lot of money. I'm seeing Aurora Cannabis lose a lot of money. There's a lot of them that are losing a lot of money, and they can only do that so long because there's only going to be so much more money coming into space. So that's I don't want to see that with my companies, right? I mean, there's basically some type of an allowance because the growing pains in the industry, right? Like, I know some of my stocks are going down, but there's like a reason, because there's obstacles towards like getting there, towards where the company needs to get. Is basically when there's more stores across Canada and they have more market share, right? So like the industry in Canada right now is like about $1 billion industry, right? But then when it gets to like 2 or 3 or 4 billion in the next 3 to 4 years, then these companies, they're not going to be expanding. They're just going to have their stores. Say they like National Access got their 100 stores, and then a good amount per store is like 3.5 million or so. Like that's in like places like Colorado or California. That's in US dollars, so closer to like 4.5-5 million Canadian. But that's like a good amount to make in a dispensary. MedMen says that they don't want to have any stores open. They don't want to open new stores unless they're gonna create $10 million per year. So that's like because they know it costs a lot of money to expand, so they're just cutting down on expanding unless it's like in a really good spot. So that's really where we need to be watching, because like Florida is just going to be amazing. I think it's going to be the top of the shelf of states to have a cannabis company in, as well as California in the future and Nevada. I think all 3 states are going to be amazing. I mean, maybe there's going to be other ones that are going to be really good, but I just look at all those states have a lot of tourism, and it's just basically a good market for a lot of tourists and people with a lot of disposable money. Now, California has some problems because they're kind of the same as Canada. As Scott Sycamore says, basically he's like saying it's not a shit market, but they have some problems. But it's basically they need to have more stores and more cafes and all that. But California is a way better market already than Canada for them, and they have the same amount of people. So if we don't get there in 2020, what they're doing right now in 2019, maybe it'll be 2021, 2022. Like, we're going to lag California, because California is going to get to probably $7 billion in revenue come 2024, whereas like Canada will probably be at like 4 or 5 billion by that time. So we're going to lag. I mean, there's nothing set in stone, because things could change, right? There could be some like super cool cafes all across like some provinces or all across Canada that creates like a super cool hotspot for people to come. So that's kind of what we got to deal with. I think the edibles and the topicals and the beverages are going to create new consumers, so it's going to be good. But we also got to watch for selling on the news. Like, if there's a big run up come like December 15th, it's probably going to sell out on the news. So it's all depending. I'm really hoping, like I'm praying and hoping that a big deal happens for like Tilray or Hexo or even Afri or Aurora, and it really gets the sector going. Because when I look at the Bollinger Bands, like the way it's setting up is just like it's got more to go to like just roll down to like hit that bottom and just like consolidate and then change momentum somewhat. That's why it'll have these big spikes up and then come down in the market, because there's just like the momentum's like it's the bears and the bulls are just like boop 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 one after another, so they just take it down, take it back up, take it back up. So it's super choppy, but eventually I think when it consolidates, it's just gonna like start going up. And then right now we're at like here, and then hopefully it starts going up, and then it consolidates again, and then higher. So I mean, I don't know if Canopy is gonna hit the same highs as it does before, or Aurora. Probably not Aurora. It's hard to say with Afria, but the companies are gonna like get close. And then if legalization happens by that time, then they should probably beat the prices that they were before. But it's hard to say. I mean, maybe all the money is just going to be flooding into the U.S. companies, even though Basically, like Canopy owns like acreage based on their warrants. They can own them in the future, but basically, maybe the Curaleafs or the GTIs and True Leaves and even Tilt. I think Tilt's it's gonna come out, like, it had a really good day today. I think it's really gonna start to create a lot of momentum as people realize it's actually a pretty value opportunity in the U.S. sector. You look at their financials, the margins aren't too bad, and those revenues are just keep growing. So, and they may make some more acquisitions. I mean, they're selling vapes in Canada, so they're really like getting across. They're working global, and I think people are going to be surprised. Like, I still hold my shares. I like Tilt. But I was thinking that it was going to go back down to like 43 cents and fill a gap. But so it's hard to say if it's going to do that early next week. But it may just keep going up. It's hard to say. I mean, I think there's a lot of momentum in that company. Anyways, keep compounding your info and listen to my lingo. And Shaka, peace. I'm out. Have a good weekend.